Good afternoon, family. So, the message for today is who are you going to choose? Okay? It's time to make a decision. God said, who are you going to choose? In John 14:21, it says, whoever has my commands and keep them is the one who loves me. The one who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I too will love them and show myself to them. Okay? So in this verse, Jesus is telling us that in order to get to God, you got to go through Him, right? He says, in order for you to show God that you love Him, you got to follow Jesus' commands, right? That's what He says. He says, if you follow my commands, it shows God that you love Him, right? And then I too will love you, right? So he's telling us, right? In order to get to God, we got to follow His commands in order to be loved and to be accepted by God. That's what John 14:21 says, okay? So this is where God says, you have to choose. You will have to choose, okay? Because God said, what did He tell us? Okay? We remember in Deuteronomy 13 what God says. He says, if a prophet or one who foretells by a dream appears among you and announces to you signs or wonder, and if the sign or wonder spoken of take place, and the prophet said, let us follow other gods. Okay? So Jesus is telling us he's performed these signs, he's performed these miracles, and now he's telling us that we have to follow Him, His laws, His commands, right? In order to get to God. And it says, if one says, if that happens, right? He says, do not listen to them. It says, God is testing you to find out whether you love Him with all your heart and with all your soul. It is the Lord your God you must follow, and Him you must revere. Keep His commandments and obey Him. Serve Him and hold fast to Him. Okay? So this is why God is like, you're going to have to choose. Are you going to listen to me and what I told you? Or are you going to listen to Jesus and what He's saying? Right? And then, Isaiah 10:15, what it says. Does the axe raises itself above the person who swings it, or the saw boasts against the one who uses it? As if a rod were to weld the person who lifts it up, or a club brandish the one who is not wood. Therefore, the Lord is the Lord Almighty. Okay? So God is telling us here, right? Do not put the things that He's created above Him, right? Because an axe is nothing. It says an axe raises itself above the person who swings it, right? So it's saying an axe cannot be raised if the person don't pick it up and raise it, right? So God is telling us, don't put the things that He created above Him, right? Because they would be nothing if He didn't create them, okay? But we have Jesus telling us to glorify him, right? We have Jesus telling us to follow His commands. We have in Jesus telling us that we have to worship Him in order to get to God, right? But God is telling us, don't do that. Do not put any of His creations above Him, before Him, right? If you go to Exodus, right, 20:23, it says, do not make any gods to be alongside me. This is what God has told us. He said, do not put nobody to go alongside us. But Jesus is telling us, right, what He just say in John 14:21? that we gotta go through him in order to get to God? God telling us, don't put nobody beside him? I mean, Jesus is just telling us to do the opposite of everything God has commanded us not to do, right? And then in Deuteronomy 6:13, it says, fear the Lord your God, serve him only. Y'all hear that? Serve him only. Take oaths in his name, not in Jesus' name, only God. That's what it says, right? It says serve him only, not serve him and somebody that he sends. It says serve him only. When you read the book of Enoch, they say serve God only. The Lord of Spirits, the Creator, the God of Israel. You're supposed to be serving him only. Everything I have read, it has never told me to serve anybody other than God. It has never told me to take oaths in anybody's name other than God. But Jesus is telling us something different, right? And it continues to say, he says, do not follow other gods, gods of the people around you, for the Lord your God among you is a jealous God, and his anger will burn against you, and he will destroy you from the face of the land. This is what the devil wants. He wants to trick you into worshiping, into sinning against God, so that you will be destroyed. Okay? Are y'all listening? Okay? And then in Luke 8, Jesus is talking about a parable. And it says, those along the path are the ones who hear, and then the devil comes and take away the word from their hearts, so that they may not believe and be saved. This is what Jesus is doing. He's coming. He's talking in parables. He's telling you to do things opposite of what God told you to do. Right? So that you will be confused. You will do the wrong things. And you will not be saved. God said, do not be like Haran. Okay? Haran is Lot's father. He died because of Terah, his father. Haran was somewhere minding his own business, right? He was minding his own business, and he was battling with deciding between God and the devil. Just like God is telling y'all to decide between him and Jesus now, he was somewhere battling between choosing God and those false idols that his dad was worshiping. And he said to himself, if God saved Abraham, I'm going to follow God. But if he doesn't, I'm going to continue with my idols, right? But he didn't get the chance to make that decision because his father, Terah, lied on him. And he died before he could make that decision, right? He could have been protected if he would have took faith and chose to follow the God Abraham was following. God would have protected him. It said that. It said God didn't protect him because he couldn't choose. God said, don't wait. Don't wait to choose. You got to choose now, because you never know what the devil is plotting against you. You never know if you wake up dead tomorrow. You never know that you might not reach that chance to make that decision to know what the truth is. Because if you read Revelations, we don't find out the truth until Judgment Day. So you got to make the decision now. Have faith now.